Well, joining us on the Coach's Corner is Ben Thompson, who is actually the holder for most ODAC wins by a first-year Emory and Henry coach. Ben, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, I want to talk basketball, one of my favorite sports. But one of the things I love about our department is really the family atmosphere we have. And in your family at home, some big news going on. So give us an update on Baby Watch.
Yeah, so Baby Watch 2020. Little man was due yesterday, and he's still not here. So I was actually texting some of our guys about it and told them that he's going to have to run some 44s for being late. So, we got to teach him early that he's got to be on time. So maybe when he starts crawling, I'll put him on the baseline and see if he can crawl the other end in 44 seconds. We'll see how it goes.
So we taped this early for those of you watching at home, just because I was fearful that the baby would be coming at any time and we'd have to wait on Ben's interview. So you just let me know if you've got to go or something like that.
I will.
Ben, I want to talk to you a little bit about this season. The one thing that stands out to me is the perseverance of your team. Just an unbelievably hard battling team, overcame a lot of different obstacles, and an unbelievable end to the season with some wins that were clutch. Talk us through what that was like and how you kept the team motivated.
Yeah. I think, we started off with a ton of adversity. We had two, really talented players leave in September to other programs in the league. And, we had recruited well, and, you lose two right off the bat. And then we had a freshman who's really talented. I thought had a chance to win Freshman of the Year. Left the program early in the season, had another junior that decided not to stay with us. And almost season-ending injuries to Robert, who I think at the time was our leading scorer. He was done for the year. And then Colin missed, I think, a month and a half of the season. Had the flu epidemic hit. At one point, we only had 6 healthy bodies. So I think myself, our assistants, my upper 60s age father was in there practicing. So, we kind of had to put it together how we had to put it together. And, I just give our guys all the credit in the world. They could have folded at any moment, and they didn't. They persevered. They fought through adversity, and we just kept telling them, it's going to be like a dam. Eventually the water's going to break, or the dam's going to break, and the water's going to kind of burst through. And they kept believing, they kept fighting. We believed in them, and then we kind of made a nice run there late in the season. And unfortunately, didn't quite get as far as we wanted to, but I was just really proud of how they fought through adversity the entire year and finished really strong.
I mean, you're a competitive guy. What does it mean to see the fight that they had, and also just to say, the foundation that we have there, and those young guys in particular, really had to elevate themselves because of some of those adversities?
Yeah, it makes my competitive fires burn even more. So I think, between our staff and our guys, I think we kind of fed off one another. Our staff never wavered in believing in our guys. And I think they saw that. A lot of times as a coach, you can think you're fooling them, but they're pretty smart. So they know if you're not being genuine or authentic. And our guys knew that we had their backs, and, they bought into it, and they continued to battle. And it was almost just kind of like feeding off one another. I was really pleased with how they battled to kind of finish the season.
And I think we became a team, honestly, that when we made it into the ODAC tournament, no one wanted to play us. So I think that's a big accomplishment as well.
Yeah. We had multiple coaches in the league tell us that they were glad they didn't draw our straw in the tournament.
I mean, we can score points, and our defense was tightening up quite a bit at the end there. And so there was a lot to take away from that. As we go into the summer, though, we have to be thinking about the next season. So talk a little bit about how recruiting's gone. Obviously, challenges to that always, just because of the pandemic and so forth, that some of the things that brings. How have you kind of navigated that, and what are we looking at for the fall and the winter seasons?
Yeah, so we returned 8 guys. We lost Jamie and Colin to graduation. Robert will be back. He'll get a medical red shirt. So that helps. And then we've brought in 5 new guys, or we're bringing in 5 new guys. Couple local guys from Gate City and Grundy. here nearby. Got a point guard, high school point guard commitment from a kid in Charleston, South Carolina. All-state region player of the year, led the entire state of South Carolina in assists for all levels. So those three guys are the high school guys that we have coming in. We've got a Division I junior college transfer coming in that I think has a chance to be really good as well. And then an all-conference D3 junior college transfer coming in. So those five guys I think all have a chance to make us better immediately. We're still recruiting. We'll probably bring in 2, 3, maybe even up to 4 more guys just to kind of reload the roster. And, I think we have an opportunity. And as a coach, I love it. And the really good players love it too. But I think we have an opportunity to have a battle and competition at every single spot in our roster next year. And so, that's important because competition breeds, improvement. Iron sharpeneth iron, right? So, that's something that we didn't have this past year, but I think it'll make the program better moving forward.
One of the big things we talk about in the athletic department is culture. And I'm wondering what kind of culture you were kind of trying to put in place, the foundation last season, and what you're trying to build upon for the future.
Yeah, I heard a term years ago from one of my mentors called gentleman student athlete. And, it's really important to us that those are the 3 key pieces. Who guys are matter, not only for our program, but I want our guys to represent Emory and Henry in the community in a proud and positive manner. I want people, when they see one of our guys, to be like, man, that's an Emory and Henry men's basketball player, and they're proud to be represented by them. The other thing, we talk about character and family all the time. I mean, my dad is an assistant on our staff. Mom's around a lot. My wife is around a lot. Tiffany's around a lot. My wife and talking to our guys and recruits, I tell them, I would love to think that after a game, my son is going to run up to me into my arms. But the reality is he's going to run up to his favorite player. They're going to lift him up and, have him grab the rim and all that stuff and whisk him away to the locker room. And, some of the things that's really important is we want character guys that are in our program that I don't have to worry about what they're teaching my kid, when they run him off to the locker room. So the character and the family aspect is really important. We did that social media push in April. And the theme that kept coming back is family, family, family. And Coach Johnson and his family started it years ago. And I made the statement, Duke may have the brotherhood, but Emory and Henry has the family. And so it's great to see so many people come back to our games and care about what's going on. And so we want to have a family atmosphere, but we also want to have gentlemen student athletes that do things right on the court, off the court, in the community and in the classroom.
Yeah, if you guys didn't get a chance to watch the social media campaign that Ben's talking about there, it was amazing. And we had talked about it. Ben, you had mentioned that you were going to be doing it. We were helping promote it. But I intentionally didn't want to know who was doing it because it was really exciting to see what familiar faces were going to kind of come back. Be honest. I mean, were you had to be a little bit surprised at how willing everyone seemed to be to do it. You had more people than you had days, but you didn't slip.
Yes, for sure. And I could have kept going. We could have done it for 2 or 3 months, really. I thought people would be interested in doing it, but I didn't think, and growing up here, like I knew about Emory, obviously, and I knew how special of a place it was, but I didn't know like the deep level of, a difference that it made in people's lives and the passion and the care that they still have to this day. People that haven't been here, for years, people coaching Division I, NBA, and people that, haven't been here in years. It was just neat to really see how much of this place still, resides in people's hearts and how much Emory and Henry kind of made people who they are. And I knew it, but I didn't know it. It's one of those things that you think until you kind of get in the weeds of it. And it was really kind of remarkable to see the impact that Emory and Henry has had on so many people.
I wanted to ask you about the tradition of the program, Ben. It does have a very rich tradition, and you're well aware of it. How does that impact you? How does this feel different than other jobs you have? Because the court that you step on and compete on, Bob Johnson Court, you knew Coach Johnson, you see his family, that is part of the family of Emory and Henry basketball. I'm just wondering how that impacts you in the job that you're playing.
Yeah, it's special. It's kind of like a mystique about it. Emory and Henry was my first ever basketball camp as a little kid. And to have those memories and, to have been on campus to see games and to now be the head coach, it's almost like surreal. And I said that in the interview process and in the press conference, but in some ways I don't have a way to put it into words. It's just a feeling that you get. I remember been at different places. And when I come back down 81 or up to 81 and you hit 81 from 77, coming up from the South, or, you kind of get to Virginia Tech and keep going south, there's just like a calmness that always comes over me when I kind of get back in these mountains. And this area is just so special. And Emory and Henry's just always kind of like a mystique, even as a kid and a high school player, it was always held in such reverence, as opposed to other universities and colleges, especially in the area. And so there's just a kind of a mystique and a speciality about it that I don't take lightly.
And I wanted to ask you about, we worked together on the project for people that came to a game. We had the video before. Those sorts of things seem to really, be things that the student athletes love. I mean, you seem to be really innovative in thinking about ways to promote your program and to really spotlight the student athletes. That seems to be something really intentional that's important to you.
It is, and I know that we're a Division III institution, but I want to give our guys a Division I experience. I think that's why people, to some degree, why people come, why people stay. And the most important thing, I want to win more than anybody. You can ask my wife, who's past 9 months pregnant, who I let win at nothing. I don't care. She's not winning. Now, she beat me last night in the game, and she'd let me hear about it. Or my nieces, who I've been playing games with since, they could barely walk and talk. I'm not letting people win. I want to crush them. But at the same time, the most important thing for these kids is that they have a great student athlete experience. And so, we're going to make the big time where we're at. And so we want these kids to have a great experience. They not only graduate from here and play here, but they leave and they come back. They give back. They, kind of carry on the mantle of the torch of Emory and Henry men's basketball. And so we just try to think up ways and talk to our guys, just things that they would want. I try to, recruit in a way that if it was my kid, what would I want from a recruiter or a coach? And then once they're here, we try to give them the type of experience that I would want, or I would want my child to want. And so we do try to be really intentional about it and try to give them a unique experience that they're not going to get anywhere else.
Ben, I'm wondering now, as you have a year under your belt and you reflect back, what are some of the big takeaways that you have from the past season, and especially now with your role at Emory and Henry and what the future's looking like?
Yeah, I mean, we've got so many young guys coming back. Right now we only have one senior for next year, and that's Robert. Everybody else are going to be freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. And so, I think next year we have a chance to make a big leap forward. But that being said, the future is really bright. Really bright. And I think the foundation has been set for a culture, the things that guys expect. They know what our standard is going to be. And so, I think that helps, the longer you have guys in the program. We obviously have a couple guys transferred in. We have Robert and Micah who transferred last year. But for the most part, we're going to be, 4-year high school guys. And we want that to kind of be a process of, them understanding what the program's about, being here for a long time, passing that on to the new guys that come in. And, we just feel like we built a really strong foundation. And now it's time to, the rebar's in, right? The foundation's in. Now we just got to build up. And so I think we have a chance to do that next year and moving on into the future.
I love all of our players, but I might have to get a Micah Banks jersey because that guy is got a lot of energy, and I just love watching when he gets excited. So yeah, that he's a
He
fun,
does.
but
A little insight on Micah. So hopefully I don't embarrass him with this. But if you want to be like Micah, it's funny. The last thing he does before every game, so he prays, and then he's got like these little pineapple or pineapple peach fruit cups, and he sips them down, and that's like the last thing he does right before he takes the court. So next time you see Micah, tell him you want a jersey and a pineapple peach fruit cup.
I like both. I like both. Well, speaking of, and the final question I have for you, speaking of intensity, you, sir, have some on the sideline as well. So I'm wondering, do you see yourself when that's happening with just getting fired up? I mean, can you feel it building? Walk me through that, Ben Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really notice it. I have friends that will text me after the game with like silly screenshots because they watch, and me being crazy, or mom or Tiff will ask if I heard them yell something or say something in the stands, or my uncle Greg will do the same thing. I'm like, no, I really don't. I get so caught up in the game, and even though I'm the coach, I'm also their biggest fan. No one wants them to be more successful as a team and individually as myself. And, we had a lot of guys that I was super proud of this year. And one of the guys that I was, specifically proud of was Anthony Williams, and how he kind of matured and progressed and came on towards the end of the year. He and Jordan Grant specifically, but, that dude's been through a ton of adversity, and, to see him taste success, especially later in the year, I just get pumped up about it because I see how hard they work, and I see, how bad they want it. When people come to games, you see a very small snippet of really the work and the effort that they put in. And so, I grew up as a fan of basketball, and even though I'm the coach, I'm still a fan. So I get really pumped for our guys.
Well, Ben, I'm a fan of what you're building there. It's fun to be across the hallway and be able to listen in and see some of those moments that you're talking about. And I would just tell all Wasp basketball fans that some really good stuff is happening, and I'm really excited for the season to come around. But also, Ben, I want to let you know I'm really excited for your family to see the addition growing. So congratulations. Tell Tiffany best of luck. We're excited to gain a new Wasp basketball fan.
Oh yeah, Joshua Patrick. He will be here soon, making his debut. We'll have a little intro video when he gets here too.
We'll need the combine stats and all of that. We're looking.
Yeah. Don't worry. You'll have it.
All right, Ben. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us on the Coach's Corner.
Thanks so much, Brent. Have a good day. Go Wasps.